Senator Roanoke.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't think it is working. Thank you. I support this amendment. There has been a lot of talk in this debate about how we've never amended the First Amendment or the Bill of Rights, about how Madison, Hamilton, and Jefferson would be ashamed, how this measure will destroy free speech, when reasonable limits on campaign financing were the law of the land, free speech was not destroyed. So we should take a step back here because all this hyperbole is missing the point. It's certainly not helping to advance our discussions. Congress and the states have amended the Constitution since the Bill of Rights. In fact, we've done so 17 times, and it was not easy. Each of those times, it took a long time. In fact, just to get women the right to vote took decades. But each time we have amended the Constitution, it shaped the rights and liberties that we enjoy as Americans. And it has helped us move toward a more perfect union. The Supreme Court is made up of human beings. Human beings can get it wrong. And in some of the most important points of our democracy's history, Congress and the states have amended the Constitution because the Supreme Court simply got the Constitution wrong, dead wrong. In 1857, the Supreme Court issued its now infamous Dred Scott decision. There, the Supreme Court found that not only did the federal government have no power to regulate slavery in some of our territories, it found that African Americans, even those who were free, were not citizens and did not even have standing to sue in federal courts. It took the 13th Amendment, the 14th Amendment, and the Civil Rights Act of 1866 to address this grave wrong inflicted on our democracy. In 1875, the Supreme Court ruled in a case called Minor v. Happersett, brought by a woman who wanted to register to vote but was denied on the grounds that she was a woman. A unanimous Supreme Court, consisting entirely of men, ruled that even if women were citizens of the United States, the privileges of citizenship did not include the right to vote. It took the 19th Amendment, ratified 45 years later, to strike that ruling from our country's laws. In 1937, the Supreme Court ruled that states could impose poll taxes against the poor in the case of Breedlove v. Suttles. President Franklin Delano Roosevelt spoke out against the ruling, as did many other politicians in Washington, but the Supreme Court had left that injustice in the hands of the states, and there was little that President Roosevelt could do. It took the 24th Amendment's passage and ratification in 1964 to correct the wrong that had been sustained by the Supreme Court's majority. Even the 26th Amendment, granting those 18 and older the right to vote, had its roots in the 1970 Supreme Court case Oregon v. Mitchell, which said Congress had no power to regulate voting age in the states. It also took a constitutional amendment to ensure that those who could be drafted into war, give up their lives, also had a right to have their voices heard in our elections. So today we're faced with a number of new, equally damaging Supreme Court decisions that undermine our country's values. And this court is among the most pro-corporate Supreme Courts in our history. And decision after decision, the narrow conservative majority has placed the rights of corporations and special interests over the rights of the people. And the majority too often interprets our laws in the Constitution to favor powerful corporate interests over everyday Americans. My colleagues on the Democratic side have talked about the damage that these court rulings, Citizens United, McCutcheon, have done to our democracy, how it's upset the balance that had been struck in our laws before the Supreme Court took its pen to these decisions, and so we must act. If you ask an average person, do you think it's right for corporations with all their money to be able to spend unlimited amounts, undisclosed? Do you think it's right that in our democracy that should be the case, that it should be unfettered? The average citizen would say no. They are looking to us to restore, as my colleague from Delaware said, restore the balance in our democracy. And as someone else said, today, money goes to finance speech, but money is not speech. I thank you, Mr. Chairman.